And we're live!
Hello and welcome to another live demonstration. Today I want to show you negative painting. Now, negative painting is painted in the areas behind the object in front. I do this all the time. What I was struggling with was trying to bring it and explain it to you in a simple terms, because I was painting the lovely leaves all stacked up. What I found myself was jumping around to the dark area rather than doing any structure. So I've taken it back to a really simple exercise just to show you the principles of it rather than what I was doing. So 3 leaf shapes, and it can be any shape. And all I'm going to do is put 1 colour wash on it. I was trying lots of different colours on this exercise and I found they were getting muddy. So I've really taken it down to the simplest form I can. So this is quite a light wash, maybe, and I'm using a natural hairbrush because this moves the water and the colour around really easily over a bigger area. I will drop into using a synthetic brush when I need some much more detailed areas. And I've made a nice shape, a long kind of... Gary doesn't allow me to do portraits because the camera isn't set up for that. It's all got to be landscape. So I've exaggerated a landscape this time.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, sometimes when you've got to get a portrait image into a landscape, it is quite difficult. But I have to stick to his rules. But apparently your telly's also made in a landscape format. So that's the reason for most pictures being painted like this in demonstrations that you see. Okay, so all 1 colour. I'm not worried about it's a lovely warm brown. And I noticed the other day that the leaves are already starting to turn, which means we must be going into autumn already. Can't remember seeing the summer, but it must have been here. What this does, it creates lovely warm granulating tones. So first layer. Now I need to dry that layer before I do the next one. This is a really, it's not a quick process. You can't just let all the colours merge because it won't work. So I need to take it down and work structurally. So hairdryer. Just take off the wetness. Just to be able to hurry this along. If you're doing it in your own time, you can, take the time to let it dry. So now, that's my first tonal value. You've got 2 tonal values there. You've got your very lightest, and then your next tone down. And I'm just going to add some more leaves. I can still feel the paper's a little bit wet. That doesn't matter. So these ones are going to stay the value you can see under the light. But I'll show you this. This is where I was actually struggling, keeping it simple. It's something I do all the time, but it's actually quite difficult to explain. So 4 leaves on that time. What I like to do is start with the very lightest, have 3 or a couple, and gradually as you get further back, you put more leaves in, very much like a leaf pile. So now I'm going to paint the next tone on, and you'll see I'm going over the areas I'd already painted, which is when your colours can start to get muddy if you start to use colours. So to start with, and to learn this technique, keep it simple. Keep it with 1 colour. Choose a really nice colour, or do the same exercise over and over again with lots of different colours and lots of different shapes. Fish would look lovely. A row of fish all receding back. So when you're painting something with substance like a pile of leaves or a bush or flowers that are coming towards you, grass is another example, what you have to do is look for the dark tones which are in the middle. If you're painting a landscape, you have different kind of colours, usually the area at the back is lighter. This is aerial perspective. It's a different kind of way of painting. This is all to do with your tonal values and the way that inside something is dark. And as an artist, it's actually quite difficult to see the darks. So you have to exaggerate them a little bit or pick them out just to take your painting up to another level. So you'll see as I start to progress with this, how the tonal values, the darks work against the lights. So again, I tend to jump around, I shouldn't really. Using the synthetic brush, no, the natural hair brush at the moment, it's working okay for me. If I keep turning, I will keep getting a point. What it does do is it holds plenty of colour and plenty of water, so I don't have to keep retopping up my brush. Because even though I'm using one colour, it is actually quite difficult to keep getting the same tonal value. So make sure you mix plenty of water. I don't mind if it changes slightly. I think that's, especially with leaves, I think that's part of the character. And you let it work for yourself. I'm not overly keen with flat washes. I prefer a little bit more texture. But again, it's what you prefer, how you feel it works for you. So I'm trying to, oops, I've gone over that leaf. So I've gone over a leaf because I couldn't see it. I can easily take that back while it's still wet. So this one needs to come back. There's a leaf there, and I took it back here as well. So even on the simple layers, I'm having to think, and sometimes I've lost the train of thought on it. This is where practice makes it much easier to keep retrying and keep repracticing. So I'm just going back in here just to sharpen those leaves, and I'm going to go back here, just bring out a little bit of tone. See if I can clean this up a little bit. Yes. There we go. That's better. So you can see now I have the three tonal values. 1, 2, 3. Again, I need to let this dry. So I think it's a good time for a short break. And during that break, I'll continue drying this. And then we'll go on to another layer, a darker layer. So join me in a minute while I dry this off.
Let us bring out the artist in you. If you'd like to learn how to paint or improve your painting, the SAA is here to inform, encourage and inspire you every step of the way. When you become an SAA member, you get so many benefits, including the free bi-monthly newsletter Paint, packed with inspiring step-by-step projects, fascinating articles, and detailed information to get your creative juices flowing. Discounts on over 13,000 art products featured on the SAA website and in the Home Shop catalogue, with free order line and free delivery in the UK mainland. A devoted SAA team on hand to answer your questions and give you the confidence and motivation you need to start painting and develop at a pace that suits you. Plus, a free welcome pack filled with gifts and practical help to get you started, as well as the opportunity to make friends with like-minded people.
Best thing of being a member is the inspiration from the magazines, to be able to purchase things at a very reasonable price.
Yeah, you get the reduction on all the materials, the advice you get.
I could shop from home.
It's a community.
It seemed like a very friendly sort of organisation.
If somebody's thinking of joining, don't spend too long thinking. Just join. They'll love it.
And welcome back. So I've had a chance to dry this, and now I can do another layer. So I'm just going to bring out, and you can see it's all very simple. Very simple shapes. I'm not trying to overcomplicate things. There, another one here. Just have one coming off the page. So I'm thinking also about the area I'm trying to fill. I think I'm probably missing one here. There we go, that's enough. So now I need to do another layer. Going back with my natural hairbrush, this I think still will give me my sharp edge. So same colour, just a lot stronger, much more concentrated. And again, put it on. This colour will reach a saturation point, whereas I can't do it any much darker. So what I might do is I'll just add a little bit of a darker colour like indigo and just take it to its strongest tones. But if you're using something like indigo, you can get a really wide range of darks and lights. Other colours like this or yellow, you have a shorter range. But again, it's all exercises which not only teach you about negative painting, but also about how your colours work. You know, what you can achieve from one colour. So you learn more than one thing from different exercises. I'm going to put the colour in there. To see if I can remember where I've put all my shapes. If you want to, you can start this and use a pen, a waterproof pen underneath, just so you can see where your leaves are. You don't have to. These are exercises for you. Unless you do that masterpiece, that's absolutely fine. But use a waterproof pen to create the shapes. Then you will be able to see where they are much easier. Okay. Making sure I am giving myself a dark tone because I want that leaf there to stand out. And you can see now I am reaching a saturation point that I'm not going to be able to get much darker with this burnt sienna. So we'll do this layer and then one more, and you can see by just adding a darker colour how you can just make it ping with those final dark tones. So the natural hairbrush is wonderful for this because it just holds the colour and allows you to get it on quickly and efficiently and quite smoothly. I probably could have done with a smaller brush, to be honest, but don't be afraid of using a large brush because you will surprise yourself how detailed you can get. You see into there, got quite a nice sharp edge. And it's just the way I'm holding my brush and being gentle with the tip. It's amazing what detail you can get from some very large brushes. I'll just sharpen that shape, bring out, leave there, and then just fill in this area here. Go. Just make sure it's strong enough to bring out the previous tone. Okay, so again, I think I've picked up everything, just rechecking, and I need to dry with a hairdryer. The paper starts to flatten when it dries. So that's usually a good indicator of when it's dry, is when the paper's flattened back. If you are doing this, don't check by using your fingers. You can hover above, and if it feels, once it's cooled down, if it feels still very cold, it's wet. Or if you do need to touch it, use the back of your fingers. There's less grease on there, so it doesn't leave finger marks. So I think I've reached saturation point with this colour. So like I said, I'm going to put a darker colour just to really take this back and add those darker tones. So a few more leaves. Just think about taking them off the page and how they work collectively. Let's put. You don't have to do a full leaf. Sometimes you just. That's why I've made this nice shape in order to I think that works for me. Okay, so now, because I've got a much smaller area, I'm actually going to kick back with my synthetic, because I know I have a little bit more control. And I'm just going to darken that burnt sienna, but I still want the burnt sienna colour, so I'm just adding a little bit of the indigo. You can now see how that darker tone really just pushes it back, which I couldn't achieve with just the burnt sienna on its own. So I needed a little bit of help. Really makes, see that compared to the white, really just pushes those leaves forward. And this is with any painting, it's just being able to push. You can imagine flowers, you know, really lovely flowers, and you push them forward by just making your values really dark where you need it. So the darker your darks, the lighter your lights. I know it seems quite obvious, but sometimes even just seeing it is quite difficult. Because if you look at something from a photograph or in life, the pictures are very flat. The lighting's very flat. So this is where you need to add that extra strength in your tonal values as an artist. And it's exercises like this which help you to see and learn the strength that you need or can achieve in your paintings. Because you don't need to be afraid of going really dark sometimes. Don't mean say use black on everything, but how dark you can get with just the colours you have. Okay. So, just trying to remember, I could just about see where my leaves are. What it may do, because I've not mixed it fully, I'll probably get some of the burnt sienna peeking through, which I quite like. It's works really well when you're doing a kind of an autumn leaf exercise. Good. And if I want to, I can come back, I can re-look. But as a one-off exercise, it's a start. So next time I do it, maybe I will look at composition a little bit more. Again, different shapes. Start to think about integrating it into a full painting. I've put a leaf just there. Or you can make it even simpler and just do circles. Start with something really simple instead of leaf shapes. So this one, take that one out. I might push this bit back here. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't usually lean over, so I've done quite well. I'll stand back. Go. See, normally I can tip things and move the board around, but Gary again has taped it down. To stop me doing that, it's all to do with something about cameras and focusing or whatever he keeps telling me. So he's taped my board down so I can't actually move the board round, but you can. So sometimes don't struggle getting into a shape, just literally you can just move the board. It's not normally taped down like mine is.
All right.
There's nothing stopping you. One day I'll freak him and just change hands, because I sometimes do that. I like to change hands sometimes, just to, you know, sometimes make it a little looser if I'm struggling with something.
Go on, go left-handed.
Will do. When I'm doing really neat work, you know it's not me normally. Let's see. Back to right-handed. Because this isn't the time to change. Right. I'll have just a quick look around and see, make sure it all works, and to make sure that I do have some really nice dark tones in the middle of the leaves. I think that works quite well. Like I say, I can add more structure, do more detail, but this on the whole is an exercise. I'm just going to give it a quick blast. Because I want to show you how even a simple exercise like this is quite effective if you've put, you do this slowly because it may rip my paper. This is not a masking tape as such, it's a framing tape. But if I'm careful, I can take it off without ripping the paper. It's designed to be much stickier than masking tape. But I'm aware of that and I've taken the risk. I think this one needs to come off next. Again, if you take it away from your painting, sorry, is that over? What you're doing is if it rips, it's going to be a way which you can hide behind a frame instead of ripping into your picture. Let's hope the next edge is really clean, crisp. That will be good. Yay. So a negative painting exercise, actually, you know, put a frame around that and it would look really good. So I hope you enjoyed that, and you can see what you can do with just one colour. Well, I added an extra colour, but on the whole, one colour and simple shapes. So join us later in the week for a live workshop with Marilyn Alice.